In 1971, an American airline plane took off, and within minutes, a passenger sitting in the last seat handed a letter to the air hostess, sending shockwaves across the nation. The few words on that letter instilled fear throughout America. Who was that passenger, and why has the FBI been unable to find him, alive or dead, even after 50 years? Welcome to the new video of Factual. The starting of this case began in Portland on 24th November 1971 with a person who appeared to be a businessman booking a ticket from Portland to Seattle. At that time in America, there were no regulations on domestic flights, even regarding luggage checks or identity verification. This was a Northwest Orient Airline Boeing 727, which was just a 45-minute flight. A person wearing sunglasses and carrying a briefcase named Dan Cooper boarded this plane and sat in his favorite seat, the last one on the plane. He ordered a drink and lit up his cigarette. Everything was normal, and in the 70s, cigarettes were a common thing on planes. Exactly at 2:58 p.m., the plane took off, and Dan Cooper handed a letter to the air hostess, Florence Schaffner. When she read that letter, she felt like the floor had slipped from under her feet. The letter said, "Miss, I have a bomb here, and I would like you to sit by me." When she sat beside him, he opened the briefcase, revealing 8 sticks of dynamite and 1 detonator. The plane was hijacked. There were a total of 3 demands from Dan Cooper: $200,000 before 5 p.m., 2 parachutes, refueling of the plane at Seattle Airport. He threatened to detonate the bomb if there were any mistakes. There were 35 more passengers on the plane who were unaware of the situation. The air hostess went to the cockpit and explained the situation. The second air hostess, Tina Mucklow, took the intercom and sat with Dan Cooper, facilitating communication between him and the pilot. It was the first plane hijacking in American history for ransom, with authorities deciding to accept all the hijacker's demands, knowing that he couldn't escape easily. The 45-minute flight turned into 2 hours of flying over Seattle Airport, with passengers being told it was due to technical difficulties. During this time, 20,000 notes in $20 bills were collected, with the serial numbers noted. 2 parachutes and refueling were arranged at the airport after landing. Once the passengers disembarked, refueling was completed, and Dan Cooper instructed the pilot to fly the plane towards Mexico City. He gave specific instructions, including opening the flaps and landing gear, maintaining an altitude of 10,000 feet and a speed of 320 kph. The pilot accepted all conditions except flying to Mexico City due to fuel constraints, suggesting Reno instead. 2 fighter jets were sent behind the plane, but couldn't match its speed. At night, as the plane approached Reno, Dan Cooper instructed Tina Mucklow to go inside the cockpit. Just before closing the cockpit door, she noticed Dan Cooper wearing something. After that, the plane's stairs were opened and he jumped from the plane. Everything that happened after this remains a mystery. When the plane landed in Reno after 3 hours, only his parachute, tie, and 8 cigarette butts were found. There was no trace of him, dead or alive. Dan Cooper's identity and how he managed to deceive everyone remain unknown. Despite sketches of him made from interviews with the crew and staff, there were no sightings of him after the hijacking. The FBI tried to determine where he jumped from the plane using the black box data, pinpointing Lewis River. However, a search operation yielded nothing, with only dense forests and mountains in the area. The FBI then sought help from citizens, publishing the serial numbers of the $20,000. They hoped that if Cooper was alive, he would spend the money somewhere. 9 years later, an interesting development occurred when a child playing on the sand at the Columbia River found 3 bundles of $20 notes. His father reported it to the FBI, and the serial numbers matched those of the ransom money. Despite the river flowing in the opposite direction, suggesting the money didn't come from the plane's location, the mystery persisted. Some speculated that Dan Cooper was a trained military commando due to his use of a military parachute. However, no conclusive evidence was found. In 1980, $5,800 of the ransom money was found, but the remaining 9,710 notes was never recovered. Only his sketches and the plane ticket he wrote himself, along with the tie clip indicating he was left-handed, serve as evidence. Even after years, his details remain on the FBI website. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.